Welcome back to Mod 1, Lesson 6. Now, so far, this is what our table of contents looks like. And today we're going to be adding a new one saying comparing decimals. Like I said, your numbers are probably going to be different than mine. Everybody's notebook is different. Some people's notes are longer than others. So it really depends on you. And you're making the table of contents so that you can find your stuff for when you're doing quizzes and tests. Okay? All right. Okay, so Mod 1, Lesson 6. We have a new standard. It's MAS 5 MBT 13B. Compare two decimals to thousands based on meanings of the digits in each place value, and we're going to use the greater than, equal to, or less than symbols to record results and comparisons. Now you can write that down in your notes if you want. If you don't, you don't have to. Okay. The lesson objective you need to write in your notes, which is compare decimal fractions to the thousands using the units and express comparisons with greater than, less than, or equal to. Our essential question: how can I use my place value understanding to compare decimal fractions? Now, a lot of you are probably confused saying decimal fractions. Well, they're just saying that a decimal that's less than 1 is a fraction of a whole number. Okay, so it's basically being called a decimal fraction. Now, as you can see, the slide says compare using unit form, and it's wanting us to compare these two numbers. So we're going to start off, and I'm going to use a place value chart. And I'm going to put it in the place value charts to help out. So there's a 6, a 9, and a 1, a 3, and a 1. And the second one is 1, 3, 2, 9, 6. Now I know most of you can look at this and you can say, okay, they both have 1 10,000ths, they both have 2 3,000ths, but when we get to the hundreds, the bottom one has 200ths where the top one has 100ths. So obviously the bottom one is larger. But we're using this as an example. And we're going to use unit form. And I'm going to start off with the top one. When you say unit form, is I'm going to read this. Okay? And I'm going to break it up so it's easier to see. And I'm going to start off by saying 13,000, because the way you read it is the number into the place value for unit form. So I'm going 13,000. 196. And if you wanted to finish out, that'd be ones. Now the second one goes 13,000. And I read it's going to be 296 ones. Now if you notice, the unit form really helped us see it. And we can see the bottom one is greater. So when we're writing this down as whether it's greater or less than, we got 13,196 and we have 13,296. And I'm comparing this one to this one. I know this one is less than. So I need to use a chevron that looks like an L that's on its side a little bit. So this reads 13,196 is less than 13,296. Okay, next one. Now this one's a little harder. So I'm going to go ahead and write it in. And the second one being 0, 0, 2. Now, when you're reading decimal fractions, you want to read them like a whole number, then read the place value. So the top one here, as you can see, I got 12, but this is 12 thousandths. So I'm going to write that down, 12 thousandths. And 1,000 in THS makes a decimal fraction. Now, when I look at the second one, I can see this is just 2. So this can be 2 thousandths. Now I can see that 12 thousandths is greater than 2 thousandths. Okay, so once again, now we're going to compare these two. Okay. So I'm starting here, and I'm going to put them in the place value charts just so it's easier to read. And I'm going to put this one in 15, and my decimal, there's 203, and the other one is 1521. So I can see this one here. I'm going to change it to unit form, and I'm going to split the whole numbers in the decimal up. Makes it easier. So I got 15 ones, 203 thousandths. And the second one, I got 15 ones. But this one, I got 21 hundredths. But if I want to compare these apples to apples, which is thousands to thousands. So I'm going to come over and put a placeholder of 0 in here. Now I have 210 thousandths. And I can see 210 thousandths is larger than 203 thousandths. So I know 15 and 203 thousandths is less than 15 and 210 thousandths. Now, if we're looking at fractions and we're trying to put them into decimal form, the easiest way is to look up here and it says 299. But it's 299 thousandths. That means the last digit right here is going to be in the thousandths place. So I'm going to put the 9 in the thousandths place and then I'm going to fill it in. So 299 thousandths. So now I can write it in unit form, 299 thousandths. And you notice I'm changing these to common forms. Now the second one says 3/10. So here's my tenths, and I'm putting 3 in there, and it's 3/10. Well, the most common mistake is look at these two and say, well, the top one's larger. It has more digits. That's what we're taught in the lower grades. But it doesn't work that way with decimals. Because if I put this in uniform, that'd be 3/10. But if I take and I put 2 zeros in here to make them both thousandths, now I can see I have 300 thousandths. So now you can see that I have both of them in thousandths. So 299 thousandths is obviously less than 300 thousandths. Okay. Now once again we have two fractions, and I'm reading this first one. Get my pen. Reading this first one is 705 thousandths. That means the last digit, the 5, goes in the thousandths position. So I'm going to come over here, I'm putting the 5 in the thousandths. Now I can't put two digits in one place value, so I have to back them up, 705 thousandths. The second one is 7/10. So if I start with the uniform again, I'm going 705 thousandths. And now I've got 7/10, but now we want to make them both the same length. We want to make them 7 thousandths. So we want to make them both thousandths, I mean. So I'll put 2 zeros in. I can see now I have 700 thousandths. So I can see now that 705 thousandths is larger than 700 thousandths. So it's going to be the greater than sign. Okay, now we've done some comparing. Now we're actually going to take what we've done in comparing, and we're going to sit there and arrange them. This one here says arrange in decreasing order. Now a lot of students get tripped up on this because decreasing order. That means you're going to start with the largest and it's going to go down. Okay, decreasing order, not increasing. Okay, so it's going to start with the largest and it's going to go down. So a lot of times it's a good idea to read this, and you know that this is the key word right here, decreasing. Okay, so decreasing means it's going to get smaller. So I'm going from large to small. So I'm going to start off and I'm going to write these in unit form. And the first thing I want to do, I'm going to find out how I can read all of them. Now this one is in thousandths. So obviously I'm going to have to read everything else in thousandths. So here I'm going to go 8 ones, 508 thousandths. Now the second one is 8 ones. And this one here is 58 hundredths. But if I put a 0 on there, now that becomes 580 thousandths. Forgot my S up top. Now the next one says 7 ones. And once again, I want to do these in thousandths. So I have to put 2 zeros on here, and it becomes 500 thousandths. I forgot a D on that one. And our last one is already in thousandths, so we can go 7 ones, 58 thousandths. So now instead of decrease, we need to find the largest number. And we can see the largest number is going to be the 8 ones. And then we look at 8 ones, we see 580 thousandths. So I know my largest one is going to be 8 and 580 thousandths. So that's that one. Then obviously my next highest one is going to be the other one, which is 8 and 508 thousandths. Now my next highest number between my sevens, I know it's going to be 7 ones, but I can see the 500 thousandths, excuse me, the 58 thousandths is smaller than the 500 thousandths. So if I put 58 thousandths, 58 thousandths, and oh, I just made a mistake, didn't I? See, it's very easy to get confused going through here. I almost made a mistake myself because we want the next largest one, not the next smallest one. So it actually would be 7 and 500 thousandths. And our smallest one would be 7 and 58 thousandths. So that's in decreasing order, going from the largest to the smallest. Now, what about when it says in increasing order? So increasing order is telling us that we're going to start with the smallest and it's going to increase as we go. So once again, we're going to start and we're going to put them in unit form. And I can see I have a thousandths right here and a thousandths here. So that means I'm going to convert them all to thousandths. So I'm starting with this one. I can put a 0 to make thousandths. So I got 8 ones, 80 thousandths. The next one is 8 ones, 81 thousandths. Next one would be 8 ones, 9. But wait a minute, that's 9 hundredths. We got to add a 0 on here. Now that makes it 90 thousandths. Now last one's already in thousandths, so we can go 8 ones, 8 thousandths. So now we got to put them in increasing order. So we're looking for the smallest one. And we see they all have 8 ones. So we've got 80, 81, 90, 8 thousandths. So our smallest one's going to be 8 ones, 8 thousandths. So we've got this one done. Now the next smallest one, we have 80 thousandths, 81 thousandths, 90 thousandths. So we know it's going to be 8 ones, 80 thousandths. And we have 8 ones, 81 thousandths. And our last one, 8 ones, 90 thousandths. So we went from increasing order, from smallest to largest. Okay, well, I hope you see how valuable unit form can be. It turned this comparing decimals for a lot of y'all that get mixed up when you're just trying to line them up, place values, and verify each digit as you're going along. That's confusing sometimes. But if you can turn it into unit form, there's a lot of things you can do with it. You can compare them, you can add them, subtract them, or you can even multiply them, and it becomes pretty easy, okay? All right, we'll see you in class.